Welcome. Most people can't reach their personal and professional goals because they are unable to turn their pain into power. It wasn't too long ago when I was standing on the side of a mountain. I was getting ready to do something for the very first time and something that I had never done again. I was getting ready to drop out of a military formation in the middle of military training exercises. As a United States Air Force Academy Preparatory School cadet, this was a big deal. If I drop out of formation, I would be putting at risk my academic journey, my opportunity to attend the United States Air Force Academy as a full time cadet. I'd be putting at risk my professional career as a commissioned officer in the United States Air Force. And all of the work that I had done to get to that point would be for nothing. But my body was breaking down. And as my body was breaking down, I began to think about all the things that had been said to me before I arrived. It brought me back to the words that my ex girlfriend had said. Hey, you should just drop out of the military and come on home. It brought me back to the words that my classmates had said. Come on, Kenneth, you know that they're not going to let you in. They don't let little black boys like you into the United States Air Force Academy. Haven't you seen the brochure? It brought me back to the words that my coworkers had said. Hey, even if they let you in, there's not that many black officers. They're going to find a way to wash you out because we can't have too many of you. While my physical body was breaking down, mentally, I was starting to feel that anguish. I was starting to lose hope. Emotionally, I felt like I had no one to talk to. I was standing in a group of people who were also doing those exercises, and everyone was stressed. There was no one that I could come and talk to about the things that I was thinking and the way my body was feeling. And just before I was getting ready to pass out, I dropped out of the formation and I went over to the medical tent. And as soon as I got to the medical tent, they sat me down, put me in a chair right next to the front door so that people, when they would walk by, they could see that I was sitting right there in front of the medical tent. It was embarrassing. Someone who had volunteered and deployed twice, once for Operation Enduring Freedom and once for Operation Iraqi Freedom, I felt like I had the most military experience in all the cadets that were there. I felt like with all my military training and all my experience, I should be the last person to drop out of formation. When the doctor came over to me, it was a sergeant. I believe they were just working staff. They came over to me and said, hey, look, you got to calm down. In the military, you're supposed to maintain your military bearing at all times. And I took pride in being that person that was calm and that handled stress very well. And so I replied very confidently to him. I said, I am calm, sir. I am calm. He said, no, you're not. You have to calm down, slow your breathing. You need to make sure that the oxygen that comes into your lungs has an opportunity to be absorbed into your bloodstream so that that oxygen can get into your muscles and that oxygen can get into your brain, because if you don't have enough oxygen in your muscles and you don't have enough oxygen in your brain, then you will feel weak and you will pass out. As I was sitting there considering my situation, I thought about everything that I had gone through. I thought about all the additional duties I had done. I thought about all the tests and homework and the additional classes I had taken to make sure academically I was prepared for this opportunity. I thought about all the letters of recommendation that I had earned and all the ceremonies that I had performed as a base honor guardsman in the United States Air Force. I thought about all the skills that I had learned and all the aircraft I had worked on as an aircraft mechanic. And I thought about my deployments and on that experience and all the honors and awards that I had received, myself individually, but also as a unit. I thought about all the promotions I had received up until that point. And everything was coming down to a simple fact that my lungs were not getting the oxygen into my blood. And I was being asked to calm down, and I thought I was very calm. It was at that moment when not just my commitment to pursue excellence in everything that I do was tested, but my resilience and determination was also tested. And so, as a good airman, I took the sergeant's advice and I began to slow my breathing. I began to take deep breaths. And as I breathed in and out to the best of my ability, I felt the strength come into my muscles. I felt the strength and my constitution increased. I felt the clarity come into my mind. I didn't feel as nauseous. I felt like I was turning a corner. And just when I got that clarity, I began to plan. I began to make a plan of how I was going to get out of this situation, how I was going to solve this problem. I fell out of formation. That did not look very good. I had demonstrated to my classmates and everyone else who was watching that I was not prepared physically. So I began to make a plan. Say, I'm going to continue to breathe. I'm going to get my oxygen back into my lungs. And then I'm going to go over there and I'm going to continue the exercises as if I never left. And I'm going to push even harder than I ever pushed before. And I'm not going to derail my academic journey. I'm going to do my best when I get into my classes. And I'm going to prove to those people who saw me today fall out of formation that academically I am prepared. I may have not been prepared physically on this day, but I'm going to show them that I am prepared academically the moment I get an opportunity to show it. And then I'm going to also volunteer for military duties. I'm going to volunteer in my squadron to show from a military standpoint and a leadership standpoint I was prepared. And eventually I'm going to get accepted into the United States Air Force Academy as a full-time cadet, and I'm going to get a commission as an officer in the United States Air Force because I'm going to maintain my commitment to pursue excellence in every single thing that I do. I'm going to show them that I'm exceptional. Yes, I feel pain right now. Yes, my mental state is not so good. Yes, my emotions are frazzled, but if I continue to breathe in and out, if I continue to apply myself, to develop myself, I'm going to be able to turn this corner. And the last thing that I did was I began to remind myself how grateful I was. My breath was coming back. The oxygen felt like it was getting into my bloodstream. And I began to be so thankful that I was still breathing. I began to be so thankful that I had an opportunity to join my flight, continue the exercise. I began to be so thankful for the fact that I am there in this environment and I still have an opportunity to pursue my academic and professional goals. I may have had a setback today. I may have had a setback tonight. I may have had a setback at this moment, but that setback and that pain that I experienced doesn't have to define me. I can use it as an opportunity to develop additional skills. I learned how to breathe that night. And I used that breathing technique, that deep breathing technique, while I was studying for tests, while I was taking additional military training exercises, while I was getting inspected. I used that same breathing technique in a lot of different areas of my life whenever I needed to calm myself down and focus and overcome the distractions that I face. Today, I share with you that story because I share that story with you because most people, as I said before, are unable to reach their personal and professional goals because they don't know how to turn their pain into power. I believe that if you do what I did, you will be successful. You'll be able to get ahead. You'll be able to generate wealth. You'll be able to create a legacy. You'll be able to live a life that is better than you can ever imagine. The first thing that I did, and I did this without even knowing it, was I accepted my situation. My lungs were on fire. My body was weak. Mentally, I was not in a good space. Emotionally, I was frazzled. I accepted my situation and I took myself out of that stressful environment and I went to the medical tent to get some help. Accepting your situation, regardless of how bad it is, regardless of how painful it is so important for you to acknowledge the challenge that you're facing. It is so important for you to not just acknowledge it, but also embrace it, embrace the ugliness of it. The second thing that I did, and I had help from the sergeant on this, was I began to develop myself. I began to create a plan to solve the problem that I was facing. Sometimes it involves listening to someone who you may not want to listen to. Sometimes it involves doing something that is so remedial, but it is so useful for you at that moment. I don't pretend to know it all, and I believe that most intelligent people do not pretend to know it all. But together we know it all. So something that someone else tells me, something that someone else sees, some perspective that they can share with me that can help me solve a problem that I'm facing, well, I'm all ears, and I believe that you should be too. Develop yourself. Start finding a way to develop the skills that you need to solve the problem that you are facing. The third thing that I did, and I believe that this is the reason why I have experienced long-term success. I believe that this is the reason why when things happen to me, it doesn't get me completely wiped out. I can continue to make progress day after day, week after week, month after month. I believe this is the reason why I was able to earn a Bachelor's of Science in Military Strategy from the United States Air Force Academy and go on to earn a Master's in Business Administration from the University of Maryland. I believe this is the reason why I was able to climb up the ladder of corporate America as a consultant at one of the big 4 accounting firms in the world. And it's also the reason why I was able to make so much progress as a keynote speaker. Be grateful. Be grateful for even the smallest things in your life. See, gratitude does something that allows you to use the things that happen to you for good. Be grateful for the things that are in your environment. Be grateful for the place that you live. Be grateful for the form of transportation that you have to and from work. Be grateful for the clothes that you are wearing and the food that is in your stomach. Be grateful for your eyes, your hands, your body, your spine. Be grateful for the fact that you have a body that can function however it functions. And also be grateful for how you look. Demonstrate gratitude for how you look. Teach yourself how to love yourself. I believe that by being grateful for everything that you have in your life and who you are as a person is a secret to making sure that you're able to reach your personal and professional goals. It's worked for me many, 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 many times, and I believe that it's going to work for you. Do this, and you will be able to overcome the challenges that you are facing. You can turn your pain into power if you do what I asked you to do. And when you do, remember this. When you experience pain for the first time or something surprises you, a lot of times people will internalize. They'll say, you know what? The reason why I feel pain is because there's something wrong with me. That's how overachievers think. I'm an overachiever. Sometimes when you experience pain and you see someone else not experiencing pain, you think, you know, they have it easy. What you have to remember is that the pain that you're experiencing is part of your purpose because your pain is going to develop the determination and the resilience that you need in order to accomplish your personal and professional goals. Your goals are so great. The purpose that you have here on this earth, the reason why you're living, the legacy that you're going to create, and the contribution that you have to society, and all the things that you're going to need to get ahead and generate wealth and to take care of your family and provide a better quality of life for your children. All of those things are going to require great accomplishments, and great accomplishments require great determination. Unfortunately, you have to experience pain to develop that type of determination, but you can survive it. I see pain as a curve in the road on the way to you reaching your goals. When you think about a value of a car, a value of a sports car, or I ride a sport bike, a value of a car, a sports car, is not just determined based on how well it goes in a straight line. Many of us feel lesser human beings when we're experiencing pain. Many of us feel like we're less quality employees and less effective workers when we're experiencing pain. Many of us feel that we don't deserve as good of a quality of life because we're experiencing so much pain. Some of us feel like we're not deserving of healthy and happy and loving relationships because we're experiencing pain. Some of us have internalized it so much that when you experience pain, your self-esteem decreases. I'm here to remind you. My duty is here to remind you that the pain that you're experiencing is just a curve on the path to reaching your personal and professional goals. And sports cars, sport bikes, their value is not determined just by how well they go in a straight line. Their value is determined on how fast they can handle the curves, how fast they can slow down and get ready to corner, how tight they can corner, and how well they're able to accelerate out of that corner. Just watch NASCAR or any other F1 or any other race car show. You'll see that the words that I'm telling you are true. Watch MotoGP. The fastest motorcycles, the ones that win the race, are the ones that are able to corner well. In your life, the people that you meet that have the highest value from an employee perspective, the people that you meet that are the best people to be around from a personal and a social life perspective, are the people who are able to handle the curves. The people who are able to turn their pain into power. That's worth millions and millions and millions of dollars. Because the companies that are able to turn their pain into power, their competition into power, the challenges that they face into power, they're able to increase the market share and the size of the market at the same time. Because they have employees and teams that all know how to turn their pain into power. Economic pain, competition is increasing, and you have problems with the product and problems with the service, and some clients are not happy. The greatest companies in the world are able to turn that pain into power. They're able to capitalize off of things that other companies are not able to capitalize off of. But their secret is because they have teams that know how to turn their pain into power. And those teams are filled up with people like me and you who know how to turn their pain into power. And we just apply what we know in our personal life to our professional life. Believe me, you are more valuable than you can ever imagine. So today, the next time you experience pain, the next time you feel like you're getting a curveball from life, I want you to focus on turning that pain into power. Your value is not on how well you do when everything is going well, but how well you're able to slow down, acknowledge your situation, how well you're able to adjust and develop additional skills that you're going to need to be successful, and then how well you're able to accelerate out, how well you're able to be grateful for every single thing in your life. I want the best for you. I'm creating a movement that will change the economy so that men, women, and children of every ethnicity can experience prosperity and live in harmony. And we need good people like you in order to make it happen. All right. I hope you enjoyed this session. If you're looking for change, if you want to develop additional skills that you need to be successful, if you believe in love, if you want to contribute to society, if you want to be more productive, support this channel. I look forward to working with you soon.